Hey there, Jim. Yeah, that is sort of the situation here in Frederick County, where school starts in just 2 weeks, August 18th to be exact. A majority of kids are going to be going back to school for in-person learning. About 1,000 kids, though, are confirmed for virtual learning. Now, that was a decision that was made back in June when families were sent an intent form to decide, whether they want to keep their kid at home for virtual learning or if they want to send them back to school. And according to the school district, everyone who is coming back, yes, they will have to wear a mask when they're inside of the building. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. But some parents, who did first pick the option of an in-person learning, they tell me, they don't want their kids, especially at the elementary level, to wear a mask all day long. One mom even posted on social media saying that the virtual program at the second and third grade levels for her two boys was full and that her only option was to pull her sons out of the school and instead do homeschooling.
We're going to do our best to accommodate them, but the reality is we do have a wait list right now, for folks who are trying to get in. So we're hopeful that, we can accommodate as many families as we can. But right now, for the most part, the decisions that families made in June are going to be what we go with here for the beginning of the school year.
All right, and just as you heard, FCP is saying that there is a wait list for virtual learning. Now, I also checked in with some other school districts, including MCPS, and, wanted to ask them if they are ready to possibly handle an influx of families who may be changing their mind from in-person learning to virtual learning. And while they didn't answer that question, to be exact, I was told that families will be unable to switch to, virtual learning because it is a separate application-based program. So at that point, I want to say it might be a little too late for parents to change their minds. Back over to you.
Hey there, Marina. Yeah, the county says this whole draining is part of a repair maintenance project that they started, about a month ago or so. But what they didn't plan on was one of their workers accidentally, like you mentioned, leaving a valve open over the holiday weekend, which they were able to close on Tuesday. But now the result, as you can see from our Skyfox drone video here, is that the water has been completely drained from this lake rather than the 4 feet elevation needed for the structural maintenance repair project. Now, this got the attention of many nearby residents talking about Lake Whetstone on social media and even contacting us. They say they're worried about the long-term impact. The project that is supposed to last for about 6 months or so might have on the wildlife and the animals here, not to mention the trash that's left over since the lake was drained and the project started a month ago.
It's been 5-6 weeks, maybe more, that it's been doing that, and there's no movement on anything, and it just getting worse and worse.
We actually didn't see any dead fish or any. There were concerns about turtles. We didn't see any turtles out there either. We know that they live out there. They're probably just safely crawled to a different habitat right now. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that, and we were happy this morning to not see any damages.
All right, well, the county says they are hoping that lake levels should get back up to where they're supposed to be during the week and, the rain that we might see this week. Now, also, as far as this trash is concerned that you're looking at, the county tells me the Montgomery Village Foundation is responsible for the trash pickup at the lake. So they are planning to schedule a maintenance crew to come clean it up. But I have to say, Marina, I'm very familiar with this lake as well. I don't live very far from here, so I know what this lake looks like when it's full. It's pretty lush. So I don't blame these residents for wanting to know what is going on here and why the water was drained. And of course, the county acknowledging that the valve was left open accidentally.
Wow. I've never been there, Ayesha, but I can only imagine just seeing the pictures when we panned behind you without ever having seen it before. I can only imagine the stark difference and how the residents are feeling seeing that in their backyards now.
Absolutely. And I was going to point one more thing as well. There's kayaks right over there. So clearly they're just going to sit there, probably just collect dust, because keep in mind, again, this project is going to run until November.
Wow.
But like I said, the county is hoping to get some water back, counting on the rain that we may have.
Hey there, Angie. Yeah, first of all, like any school that we go to here around Montgomery County, you can see there are signs posted all over the door. They're asking people to put their mask on when they enter the building. So what parents want to know is, why are teachers not being required to be vaccinated or even get tested regularly the same way that the county is requiring their employees to?
A lot of the more experienced teachers are also the older teachers. We all want to improve our odds of staying in the classroom. I want to be in the classroom with my students this year. I don't want to do another year of remote if I can help it.
All right, so one thing to keep in mind, the head of the American Federation of Teachers, and she just said on Sunday that she now supports vaccination mandates for teachers before they return to the classroom in the fall. So I reached out to MCPS about this, and I was told, quote, "We are reviewing what the county has proposed at this time, and we are having discussions about potential next steps for the school system." Now, we also heard from the Montgomery County Education Association, and they tell me in a statement, quote, "We look forward to working with MCPS to agree on protocols that will allow students to learn and educators to teach safely in person." Now, I also checked in, with some county health officials, and basically they tell me that they can advise MCPS, but what they can't do is actually enforce these policies within MCPS. That's basically up to the school board to decide whether or not they're going to align their policies with the county. I reached out to all 8 board members as well, Angie, but I have not heard back just yet. Back over to you.
But what about other bigger school districts here in the area, in the region? Anybody requiring teachers to get the shot or be tested regularly? Did you find out if anyone's doing it?
Yeah, it seems like it is a question for a lot of parents, all over the DMV. So, yes, I did reach out to a couple of school districts. That includes Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince George's County School District. And so far, Fairfax County Federation, that is the union representing their teachers, they said that they are reviewing this type of policy and that they will be sharing their recommendations with FCPS leadership very soon. So far, they're the only teachers union besides Montgomery County Public Schools has gotten back to me. Angie, back over to you.
Yep.
Well, many people I've been talking with tell me they have noticed some young people standing near the exit from Malcolm X Avenue and 295 right over there by JBAB, and they're hitting cars with rocks as people drive by. Now, here's a picture of a damaged windshield that someone talking about it on social media shared with me. The driver says she was traveling on Malcolm X Avenue on Sunday when her windshield was hit. She says she reported it to police. They took her statement, and they said that it would be really difficult to catch the rock throwers because of the location. And when and if they are caught, not much would happen to them. The woman said the damage cost her nearly $500 to get her windshield fixed. Now, we saw a lot of people chatting about these incidents in several posts in the community page on social media. Another woman shared with me a picture of the rocks that she says were thrown at her car on August 27th while she drove with her husband and their dog. In another case, a woman driving the same route with her young daughter in the car says she was hit on Saturday. She says the object didn't hit her windshield, but the side of her car.
I was really angry because if that glass was really to crack and explode inside of my van, my daughter could have really gotten hurt. She could have got glass in her eye, her mouth. I probably would have taken her to the hospital because it hit really hard.
Now, I have been reaching out to MPD since this morning, and all they have said to me so far is that they are looking into my inquiry. Back over to you in the studio.
No, hey there, Jim. Yeah, whoever is going around deflating people's tires on their SUVs also happened to be leaving this flyer, actually similar to this one, basically telling people that their SUVs are hurting the environment and that they should know better. I should tell you, though, that this story was first reported by Arlington Now. Now, police were called a little after midnight on June 18th in the 4600 block of 37th Street North, where the owner of 2 SUVs reported that someone let the air out of one of the back tires on both cars. Well, turns out he was not the only one. Police walked a bit further up the street and noticed that 3 more SUVs had a flat back tire as well. Police say whoever went around deflating the tires are an alleged
climate activist and left a long typed out note that basically read as, quote, "Don't take it personally. It's your car we don't like. You are certainly aware of the large amount of fuel it consumes," end quote. Now, one SUV owner who didn't want to be identified says, he feels violated, obviously, and believes, this isn't the most productive way of communicating such a message.
Yeah, I always feel violated, when somebody goes after your property. I think there's an appropriate way to express your views. I don't think that entails, trespassing, vandalizing, causing inconveniences that may seem trivial but could turn into bigger things. Like I said, an emergency.
All right, police say, while they are continuing their investigation, they don't have any surveillance that's been turned into them. I asked, maybe somebody in the neighborhood turned in their, the Ring camera video, and they said they don't have anything like that. They also don't have any reason to believe that it's more than one person who is going around deflating people's tires in their SUVs and leaving flyers similar to that one. Back over to you.
So just so I'm clear, they're not damaging the tires, they're not slashing the tires, but they're letting the air out, or are they doing both? Okay.
Literally just letting the air out. So thankfully, a lot of the owners that I spoke with said, thank God nobody slashed the tires or anything. They're just letting the air out. But still, though, it's an inconvenience, especially if you have family or you're going to work the next day.
Yeah.
Going back to school, and we're only 2 weeks from when school starts here in Frederick County, August 18th to be exact. A majority of kids will be going back for in-person learning inside of the buildings. About 1,000 kids are already confirmed who are going to be learning virtually from home. Now, that was a decision, like I mentioned, that was made back in June, when families here were sent an intent form to decide whether they, want to keep their kid at home for virtual learning or if they want to send them back to school. And according to the school district, everyone who is coming back, this is not something new. They will have to wear a mask inside. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. Well, some parents who did first pick the option of in-person learning, they tell me they don't want their kids, especially at the elementary level, to wear a mask all day long.
For our all virtual schools, we need to make sure we hired enough teachers, and we didn't want to hire too many. That would we wanted to make sure we did right by our county and hired the right number of instructors and staff to help with the and support the virtual programs.
All right, so now, while you just heard FCPS saying that there is currently a wait list for kids who want to go to virtual learning, and I checked with MCPS as well to ask them, let's say there is an influx of parents who decide that they want to now send their kids for virtual learning instead of in-person learning. Now, they didn't exactly tell me if they are ready for that or not, but I was told that families will be unable to switch to virtual learning because it is a separate application-based program. So the decisions that you made about how you want your child to be educated this fall kind of has already been made, and we'll have to stick with that. Back over to you. Hey there, Rob. Listen, I'll say this. This is not just exclusive to drivers within Alexandria. This is happening to a lot of car owners in Fairfax, Arlington, Loudoun, and Prince William counties, basically the whole state of Virginia. Now, we found many car owners living in Northern Virginia talking about those high car tax bills on social media. So many of them saying that they were caught off guard, not expecting to see such a huge increase. Many vehicle owners in Virginia say their car tax bill this year has caught them by complete surprise, clearly. And, for example, a guy who owns a Ford Mustang, he told me that the net 2021 tax that he would have to pay is more than $1,000, which he says is 27% higher than the $860 he paid in 2020. Another woman I spoke with says the assessment on her husband's 2014 Ford F-150, that one increased more than $1,500 from last year.
That's not the way this is supposed to work, right? It's an aging vehicle. It's supposed to depreciate. Not only that, but it was only one out of our 3 vehicles that seemed to have this increase. Everything else went down. So why? Why is this happening? How can they get away with this?
COVID happens. We all change how we come to work, how we do work. There's lockdowns, there's shutdowns. Fewer cars are made, making the value of cars go up because people still need a car. Rental companies still need a car.
All right. In some cases, though, some people noticed a $100 to $350 admin fee on their bills, which is if your car plates aren't registered in Virginia. This actually happened to one resident in Alexandria. He told me he saw the fee. He called the city of Alexandria, and they immediately fixed it. However, they did admit that this was certainly an error on their part. That's why the city of Alexandria and anywhere in Northern Virginia, they are encouraging people who want to have the city or the area they live in review their tax bill. And you might be able to lower your bill, but only if you call them. But definitely don't wait on it and don't sit on it. Back over to you. You know, that is a question that many local jurisdictions are asking, and even local nonprofits are asking, because they are ready to help, but they're just waiting for an answer from the government. Though, Rob and Angie, I do want to show you that one more bus just did arrive here with the refugees inside. They are taking them inside the Dulles Expo Center. This is where they've been coming in, you know, taking temporary shelter where they'll be sleeping on cots and receiving a lot of the donations and supplies that people have been coming by to bring them. Now, where we are here at Dulles Expo Center, you know, because of tight security, you know, it's really hard to get really close. But like I said, there is plenty of help and support, including basic supplies, to help these refugees who are arriving. Now, many of the refugees are destined for Army bases, including Virginia's Fort Lee. But, you know, as this, you know, we asked earlier, you know, what is going to happen going forward? Being the big challenge here is, you know, where will these refugees settle? Meaning, are local jurisdictions ready to take in the influx, especially when it comes to families who have kids who will need to be enrolled in our local school districts?
It's not the first time we have received migrants. And yes, the program's in place. And I live in Prince William County. And yes, we are in constant contact with the school division. And yes, we are making rooms for them. And it will definitely be a smooth transition.
All right, now to sort of illustrate just how dire the situation is in Kabul, you know, I got wind of an Afghan family here in Northern Virginia who is trying to get their cousin and his family out of Kabul. And they tell me their cousin, who is stuck in Afghanistan right now, he was a Supreme Court judge who actually put away Taliban officials. And now that the Taliban have taken over Kabul, they have gone to his house looking for him. He's in hiding right now. He's got a wife and 4 kids. I was just checking in with their family here in Northern Virginia. They said right now they're not getting any word on if that family is going to be able to get on a plane and be able to join these refugees who are arriving here at the Dulles Expo Center. Back over to you.
That is the case, Rob. And, you know, this is not something new for the county, only because, you know, this has been happening in a lot of jurisdictions across the country. Now, it's going to be a while before we know who's going to be on this board, but we do understand it's going to be made up of 9 members. Now, before all of that even happens, you know, we did speak with some advocacy groups in Arlington who are pushing for the board to have a little more power than what was voted on last night. So right now, the yet to be created civilian group will have the ability to subpoena police, but they cannot discipline officers. Now, this is a proposal that was put forward by County Manager Mark Schwartz. Under this plan that was voted on last night, the board would only get to review completed police investigations rather than conduct their own. Now, one advocacy group known as Arlington for Justice, that group tells me, you know, neighboring Alexandria, for example, has created a similar civilian board that has the power to conduct independent investigations of police conduct. So they would like for the Arlington civilian panel to have the same.
It does not have as strong of investigatory authority as the Alexandria one does. They have to work together, you know, in conjunction with the police to be able to investigate. There's some issues around that. It would be really nice if there had been some more, an additional aspect to having disciplinary authority.
Now, guys, I reached out to the union that represents the Arlington County Police Department. In an email, they responded to my inquiry telling me, quote, "Though the decision made is not the outcome we would like, we are all about compromise, and we feel this is the best outcome for everyone involved," end quote. Rob, back over to you.
Yeah, so Ayesha, this seems to be a story about power to do A, B, or C. So even though the panel hasn't been created yet, is the county and the board working towards maybe giving the civilian oversight a little bit more power when it comes to investigations?
Yeah, see, that's the whole story here is, how much power can you really give a panel when it comes to policy making and policing within a county like Arlington? So a county board member tells me, there is power to investigate, but that will be conducted when there is a monitor on the board. And that monitor will get to work with the police department that is doing the investigation. And then that monitor will get to, suggest, additional questions or witnesses they want to add, and then be able to bring that information back over to the rest of the panel. Rob, back over to you.